Right, 31 August 2024, and today I'm going to be giving you quite a comprehensive look at what is happening with Mnangagwa, Chiwenga, Mohadi, and the planned railway upgrades in Zimbabwe. So many people do not know what is happening regarding the rail. The rail is big. So the biggest thing that is happening in Africa right now is the railway sector. The railway sector is a game changer in Africa, and every single country in Africa is scrambling to build a high-speed rail. And this includes West Africa, East Africa, and Southern Africa is quite behind. If you look at my website, Gambakwe.com, if you go there now, I have given a list of all the projects that are currently running. And these projects are very big, very expensive projects. And they include various companies, but all of them include China. And when I talk of China, I'm talking about the China Railway Group, which is the holding company, and the China Railway Construction Company, which is the company that does work on the ground, and SANY Group, which is the company that provides the equipment that does the construction. So Mnangagwa is going to China, and part of the work that Mnangagwa is doing is to look at the rail companies. So if you saw this afternoon, many people were looking at the young men next to Mnangagwa, and they got confused. They don't understand what Mnangagwa is doing. Mnangagwa is playing a game of chess, and he wants you to look at the young man. He doesn't want you to look at what he's doing. That young man is one of twins. So one of twins, Collins and Sean. And right now, if I ask you, is that Sean or is that Collins? Most people don't know because the twins look the same. So many people were confused, and they spent the whole day trying to guess whether it was Collins or Sean. But that is not where the game is. The game is in big money. There's going to be big money to be made in rail. Zimbabwe is going to be totally transformed if the rail sector in Zimbabwe works, especially a new high-speed rail. And there are two types of rail. That is the standard gauge rail and the broad gauge rail. So the Chinese companies have been putting in place the standard gauge rail, which runs on the same tracks that have been running in the past. They just need minor modifications. This is what they've done in Tanzania, in Nigeria, in Senegal, in Zambia, in all these countries where the Chinese have gone. The only country with a broad gauge rail is South Africa. And all the other countries, you can go and look at the list on Gambakwe.com right now. It's live. I've put it up there. China has used those two companies to construct over 10 projects in rail. And the company that has provided the equipment, as I said, is SANY. And Mnangagwa today went there with this young man here. And I don't know, I don't want to guess if this is Sean or Collins. But as I was saying to you, this is a game of chess that Mnangagwa is playing. Mnangagwa has realized that other countries are moving ahead. And he has also sent Mohadi to Indonesia. So Mohadi arrived in Indonesia with Monica Mchangwa yesterday, and today they had meetings regarding the rail. He said it today himself. Mohadi has said it, that they are looking at the rail. There are currently four prominent projects in rail that are being done by Chinese companies and 3 Indonesian companies. I've put it for you on Gambakwe.com. You can go and have a look at those companies that are busy with these projects. So the game plan here is that after Mnangagwa goes and looks at SANY, he's then going to go and look at and talk to the leadership of the Chinese Communist Party. The Chinese Communist Party is the company that is in charge of the CRG, or Chinese Railway Group, and Chinese, so consequently, Chinese Railway Construction Group company, sorry, CRCC. So those two companies are under the Chinese Communist Party. And The reason why this is important is because the money required to do rail is a lot. So you're looking here at between 30 billion US dollars to $100 billion to do rail in all of Zimbabwe. You need about $100 billion. But to do a conversion, which is what they've done in Angola, in Tanzania, they've done a conversion on a short rail. You can do maybe $3 billion to $5 billion. So the figures we're talking about, they are not they're not small monies. They're not monies like what we've been talking about in Zimbabwe. And once you put this rail in Zimbabwe, that country is going to be totally transformed. 2 hours from Harare to Bulawayo, 3 hours to Victoria Falls. And if you're going to go to Beitbridge, Harare to Beitbridge is 800 kilometers, somewhere about there, which means you're going to do 3 hours to Beitbridge. You're going to create millions of jobs, and you're going to create millions of industries as you create train stations, as you create buses that move from the trains to the local areas and so forth. So what Mnangagwa has done is to take with him people like Tatenda Mavetera. He has taken with him the young men here, who I assume, and my guess, as I said, I don't want to guess, but strategically, if I was Mnangagwa, what I would do, and this is very simple. So look at the Chinese guy on the right, the one that is next to Mnangagwa. So
sorry guys, I think I'm lost here. I've lost my network for some reason, so I do not know what's happening. I've totally lost my network. I'm totally gone from the stage, so I have to find a way of reviving myself here while I'm talking to you on another network. So totally uncalled for, loss of network and power. So I hope that you can hear me. I'm totally lost. I do not know what's happening, but let's continue with the talking. I hope that you can hear me. If you guys can hear me, please confirm that you can still hear me while I sort out what has happened to my network. If anyone can hear me, just confirm there that I'm still audible. I need just a confirmation there that you can hear me. Pikisani, just say yes if you can hear me while I'm sorting out the situation that has developed here. Yes, that's cool. If you guys can hear me, it's all good. There's no need to see me for the next 2 minutes or 3 minutes. You won't be able to see me, but you will see me later. So anyway, let's proceed to where I was. I was saying Mnangagwa has sent Mohadi. So you can see Mohadi there. He's traveling with Mnangagwa. Mohadi has gone to look at the rail construction, which is taking place by the China Railway Construction Company. The China Railway Construction Company is the actual company that does the construction. So he's gone there to look at those projects. He has said so himself this evening. He stated it. I'm not guessing. He said it. I'll show you the video tomorrow. They're looking at how Indonesia is constructing the project. At the same time, Mnangagwa, what I think Mnangagwa has done, strategically, if I was Mnangagwa, what I would do. So I was saying, look at the Chinese guy on the right. Behind him, you're seeing Tuling Mube over there. The one person that you're not seeing is the other Mnangagwa who is in the Ministry of Finance, Kudam Mnangagwa. So Kudam Mnangagwa is not there. What this means is Mnangagwa has left someone at home who's going to be looking at the Ministry of Finance. And to confuse people, what I would do if I was Mnangagwa, I would then take young Collins with me. Collins has got an engineering degree from China. So I would take Collins with me to China, and I will leave Sean, who is a major in the army. The reason why I will leave Sean, who is a major in the army,
is because I do not want to create a situation. Okay, let's remove this one. Right. So I hope that has improved the situation. So I would leave Sean at home, and I would leave Kuda at home. Then I would take Collins, who is an engineer, with me to China. And this will confuse everyone. Everyone would think I've taken the army guy, whereas Sean in the army, he is basically no one. If you look at the structure of the army, Sean is a major. A major is very low. It's almost like the third rank from the commissioned officers. I think Sean is like number 3 from the bottom. So everything that everyone is talking about doesn't make sense. The thing that Mnangagwa doesn't want is for Chiwenga to be close to a groundbreaking and significant project like the rail project. The rail project is going to be game-changing in Zimbabwe. So Mnangagwa has made sure that he sent Mohadi to Indonesia to look at an actual project which is in progress. So Indonesia has got multiple projects underway. The African projects are finished, so there's nothing to see. That is why he has sent Mohadi to Indonesia to look at the 4 projects that are currently underway. He has then taken the young man here, Collins, to China to look at the biggest supply of equipment. He's also going to introduce him to the Chinese Communist Party. He's going to introduce him to the Chinese railway group and Chinese railway construction company officials. That effectively sidelines Chiwenga from the railway project. And when Chiwenga wants to talk about these projects, he has to ask the boy. He has to ask the boy. He has to ask Mohadi. He doesn't know what is going on. That is the game plan here by Chiwenga. And he has also taken Tatenda Mavetera here, and he has taken Mthuli Ncube. But at the same time, he has left people guarding the base. So he has left Sean guarding the army, and he's left Kuda guarding the Minister of Finance. And he has taken the guys like Mthuli Ncube, who are basically disarmed. You can see Mthuli Ncube has experienced a massive weight loss. After we commented on his massive weight over the past few months, I'm always getting sidetracked with the way people look. But anyway, that is the game. The game is to sideline Chiwenga from the rail project. And now I want to go into what is going to happen. Mnangagwa is going to make a mistake because the railway project is now going to be run under NRZ. NRZ is a mess. That company cannot be revived. The leadership is poor. There is no strategy, and there's too much legacy issues at the NRZ. So what Mnangagwa would need to do is to split the NRZ the same way that they split ZESA or PowerTel. So that is what Mnangagwa needs to do. There needs to be a strategic split of NRZ into various sections. So you give the high-speed rail to someone else. You give the same way they did PowerTel. PowerTel moved out of ZESA, and you move the metro rail to someone else. And then what you need to then start to do is to start with a small rail project in Harare that is redesigning the whole rail network in Harare so that it becomes very good within a short space of time. Within 2 to 3 years, you have a proper rail network operating in Harare. The problem is, does Mnangagwa want to wait for 3 to 4 years? Because this project takes between 3, 4, and 5 years before they are finished. Is Mnangagwa willing to wait? And are the boys ready to take over if there is a need? Because this is a strategic project. Whoever leads this project and whoever successfully completes the rail project in Zimbabwe is going to do very, very well. That is why you see that Mnangagwa has made sure that Chiwenga is nowhere near those projects. And at the same time, he has made sure that he's got people who are guarding at the back when he's away with the boy and with with the Mohadi in Indonesia. And anyway, the fact that Indonesia is having a conference right now, the Indonesia Africa Summit, is not coincidental. There is a lot happening over here because Indonesia wants to get into the rail business. They have also realized how important rail is. Rail is extremely important, especially high-speed rail. because things are moving too slowly in Zimbabwe. Things don't move. If you're in Harare, it takes hours to get to Bulawayo. If you're in Bulawayo, it takes hours to get to Victoria Falls. And if you're in Harare, it takes hours to get to Mozambique. So you need a connection. But the connection that you need for Zimbabwe is different from other countries. So in Zimbabwe, you don't need the rail that goes out. You need the rail that moves people around. Zimbabweans are not able to move around, and the tourists are not able to move around. Countries like Indonesia, they've done very well with tourists. Countries like Tanzania, they actually right now have a project or projects where they try to call tourists and Americans to come and live over there. If you look at countries like Ghana, the president of Ghana has gone to the United States to call Americans to come back and say, do DNA tests and make this your home. So tourism is big and it brings billions of dollars into Africa. So Mnangagwa is very strategic in what he's trying to do, but the strategy is failing on the implementation. How is he going to move on the NRZ, and how is he going to successfully sideline Chiwenga? That is where the delay has been. I've also been talking to people who say the reason why the NRZ was destroyed was for people to use the haulage trucks, but there's no more money in the haulage trucks. This is slowing down everything. The profit that they're making on haulage truck can easily be made on rail. And it depends on what kind of structure you put out when you create your railway company. This can be state-owned. So it has to be a structure that is based on public-private partnerships. And that is where these local guys could come in. The guys who are in haulage trucks right now, in buses, they can simply be put into the PPPs and they'll do very, very well. So you can go to Gambakwe.com, you'll see all the details of all the projects that I'm talking about here. There are a lot of projects underway, but do not get sidetracked. When you look at the picture of Mnangagwa and the boy, and if you look at what is done with Muhadi, you should understand the bigger picture. The bigger picture is that whoever successfully implements the rail is going to be the godfather of Zimbabwe's success. And Mnangagwa wants to be that godfather. He doesn't want Chiwenga to become the godfather of Zimbabwe's revival, because the rail is how Zimbabwe is going to be recovered or is going to be revived. So let's quickly look at the comments. I apologize for that break in transmission. Terrible. I think someone was looking at my connection and saying, let this not go so well. Guys, I want to look at Mkoma Aaron. It's not viable in Zimbabwe where we are still struggling with electricity. That's not true, Mkoma. The electricity I'm talking about here is not the same as the electricity for your home. The moment you put high-speed rail, your economy is going to revive. Zimbabwe does not have an electricity problem. Zimbabwe has got a generating problem. They do not have capacity. There are dams that are not complete right now for electricity. You can also use solar. That's not the problem. The problem is generation. Gwanda is empty. There's nothing there happening. If you sit down and plan properly and you use the army in an engineering corps, you put 10,000 soldiers in one location and make them an engineering corps, this is going to be a minor problem. If Tanzania is able to have a train, do you know how bad the power cuts in Tanzania are? Tanzania power cuts, they can go for 8 hours. And I'm not talking nice power cuts here. I'm talking about total blackouts. Same thing with Zambia. Zambia has got massive power cuts. We've got the same issue as Zimbabwe. The Zimbabwean issue is generation. The moment we start making enough money, all the dams and all the hydroelectric power projects that we have are going to come on stream. And so let's not worry about electricity. Electricity is not an issue because this can easily be solved. Let's go to another point here. So you have now a Mnangagwa sympathizer and you now believe in Mnangagwa. I do not believe in Mnangagwa. Try to understand what I'm saying. I'm saying Mnangagwa is sidelining Chiwenga. I'm not talking about my feelings. I don't have a feeling. I'm trying to show you what's happening. And this is a 50-year strategy. Remember, I'm talking about a 50-year strategy. It doesn't matter who implements what I'm talking about. If Chiwenga does it, if Mnangagwa does it, if Chamisa does it, it doesn't matter. A 50-year strategy is what we call a high time frame strategy. You don't care about the people at the bottom. You care about what happens in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years. That is why I'm saying in 2035, that is when we're going to have an end of a transitional system. And by 2040, we'll have a fresh government. So do not expect me to be a lover of someone. Like I just blindly follow someone. I have to give you exactly what is happening. And then Mkoma Kadimel says it's factual or speculative. I don't want to talk about, I said to you, look at these two. Is this Sean or Collins? Do you know? So don't even try to answer that question because no one has told you. Do you see who this is? Do you know why Mnangagwa is here? Those are the kind of things that I'm trying to give you direction on. You must understand that if we were to be factual here, then politics will become mathematics, and mathematics is not politics. You know it very, very well. Then Mkomanya said, General, for now, we need him to take over from Mnangagwa. It's really interesting about General Chiwenga. And as I said to you, within the next 60 days, there'll be an event, a big event in Zimbabwe. Things are at an edge right now as we speak. Mnangagwa and his dynasty are working very hard against Chiwenga. And we're going to see what Chiwenga can do within the next 60 days, just as we head towards the ZANU-PF National People Annual Conference. I hope I'm calling it right. If Chiwenga fails to move during that period leading up to that Congress or conference, you're going to see a massive shift in ZANU-PF, especially at the top. But that won't happen without incident. That's why I'm saying to you, within the next 60 days, we're going to have a massive incident. But all those things are low level. I'm talking here of high level, high time frame. If you see a person that can think in 50 years, that person is a strategist. So most people think 5 years, think 50 years. What is Zimbabwe going to look like in 50 years? That is the level at which a dynasty thinks. A dynasty thinks in 50 years' time. So let's say Collins and Sean are 30 years old. I'm just giving an example. In 50 years' time, Collins and Sean will be 80 years old, which means they'll still be around. How many years old is Chiwenga going to be in 50 years' time? You see, so strategically, you're going to be beaten if someone is thinking at a high level and at a 50-year strategy level, and you are thinking at a 5-year or 10-year strategy level. So don't think at a 50-year or at a 5-year strategy or 10-year strategy level. Think at a 50-year strategy. That is where most countries are thinking. That is where most militaries are thinking. If you're in the military and you're thinking 5-year strategy, 10-year strategy, you're way behind. China is thinking 100 years. So the Chinese are looking at 100-year strategy. And I've shown you here the 100-year strategy of China. It just reached 100 years last year. So they have started a new 100 years right now as we speak. So in 21-24, the Chinese already know what is going to happen. And what do you think will happen in 21-24 in Zimbabwe? Those are the kind of things that I'm talking about. And then Mkoma Moses says, but Mkoma Gambakwe, let's be frank here. On all your predictions, how many have come to pass? I predicted that the Zimbabwe dollar will collapse within a month, and it did. I've predicted for you correctly the value of the ZIG, and it has happened. What else do you need to know? Now I'm predicting to you that within the next 60 days, there will be an event in Zimbabwe, and it will be a ground-changing event. I've shown you today what has happened with Mnangagwa and the boy in China, and what has happened with Mnangagwa and Mohadi, and why Chiwenga was left behind, and why Kuda and Sean are probably right now in Zimbabwe. So I'm giving you what needs to be given. You can take this information and do what you want to do with it. I've also predicted to you that Nelson Chamisa right now is under lock and key. The man cannot move for some reason. They have put him somewhere where he cannot move, where he cannot talk, where you cannot see him. All you see are tweets, probably being tweeted by a man in dark glasses. Right now, as we speak, you may be surprised that the man who is tweeting for Chamisa is a man in dark glasses, not Chamisa himself. Then my last comment is Mkoma Mboso. Gambakwe recently HS commissioned a power station, meaning the building capacity. Yes, it's correct. But Zambia is a massive country. So let me explain to you the advantage of Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is the only country in the whole of Africa that has got this strategic advantage. If you were to put a high-speed network station in Gweru, every other place in Zimbabwe will be within 2 hours reach. There will be no place in Zimbabwe that you cannot reach within 2 hours. That is if you put, so the strategic advantage of Zimbabwe is speed. So most places are difficult to reach. South Africa, the places which takes 2 days to reach. In Zimbabwe, every single place will take you less than 2 hours to reach, which means in a day, you can go to Harare and come back twice, go to Gweru and come back twice, go to Bulawayo and Victoria Falls twice. If you're a tourist, do you know what you do if the country was working? You say, where do I get most value from my money? I go and I stay in a rural area in Victoria Falls, and then every morning I'll commute to a different place. If you are in Harare, you work in Harare, you're going to build your mansion in Adoma, and every morning you commit to work. These things are quite possible. They're happening right now in Tanzania. Tanzania has built a new city where people go every morning. Nigeria has done the same. Ghana has done the same. These things I'm talking about here are going to come to Zimbabwe, and they're going to come to Zimbabwe within the next 5 years. The question is who is going to do it? And the person that does it is going to be in the history book of Zimbabwe. We're going to have statues of that person. If Mnangagwa was to start this project and then Chiwenga was to complete it, people always say Mnangagwa started it and Chiwenga completed it. But if Mnangagwa doesn't do it and Chiwenga starts this project, Chiwenga will be the most successful president ever in Zimbabwe. And you see that I'm not talking about Chamisa right now, because I do not think Chamisa is somewhere where he can make any decisions. I don't think Chamisa is somewhere where he can even talk to anyone, because they've put him under lock and key. Then Happy Man say, I know you don't mind being criticized, but you got to wonder why some people regionally follow your broadcast, yet they seem to hate you with a passion. No one hates me, Mkoma. I'm the most loved person in Zimbabwe right now. If you want to know why, it's because I am present. So every day I'm here in the morning and I'm here in the evening, and I give you my opinions of everything that is happening. I never hide from you what is happening. And then Mbuso, I won't read your comments. So everyone reads the comments that are coming up here. And you can also go to Gambakwe.com to look at what has happened. So let's recap. We said Mnangagwa is strategically sidelined General Chiwenga on the projects in rail. He is right now busy with meetings with the Chinese Communist Party, with Chinese Railway Group, Chinese Railway Construction Company in China, and he's taken one of his sons. And I am speculating that that son you're seeing there is not the military guy, but the engineering guy, who is Collins. And he has also sent Mohadi to Indonesia to look at the actual projects that are taking place in Indonesia. And these projects are being run by the China Railway Construction Company and also some Indonesian companies. So this is a beginning of an exploration. And you can see Monica Mchangwa over there. She's sitting right at the corner with blue. That's Monica Mchangwa over there. And my belief is that they want to sideline Chiwenga so that he doesn't have enough information about the rail project, which will be groundbreaking and game-changing in Zimbabwe. And also, they've removed Mthuli Ncube and put him on this project and left the young man, Kuda, in charge of finance, Minister of Finance. So he's got all his bases covered, and then he's confused everyone on which son he has taken. So today, all of you were thinking, which son is this one? Is this the army guy? Is this the non-army guy? But look at that jacket, and then look at this jacket. What do you think? Who likes that color? It's starting to look like he's done that. But we'll see tomorrow and what the game is. But all I can say to you is rail is coming to Zimbabwe, and high-speed rail is extremely important. It's going to be a massive game changer in our country. So I see that I've talked for 30 minutes. Normally, I like to talk for 10 minutes in the evenings because I also have to come back here in the morning and prepare for our 5 a.m. broadcast. I would like to thank all of you for joining and for all your support. Our country is going to do very, very well. I believe that high-speed rail is the way to go. and high-speed rail is going to be the game changer. Let's see who comes with the high-speed rail first in Zimbabwe and how they do. This is going to totally change our country, and I can't wait to see how this goes. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching, and a good night.